In 17 years of tracking employee engagement across more than 150,000 workers and 160 countries, Gallup has never recorded 2 consecutive years of decline. The streak held through 2008, it held through COVID, but the 2026 report broke it. Welcome to the IADS Retail Park. To those of you who've been here a while, and to anyone joining for the first time, thanks for tuning in. I'm Maya, Head of Communications at IADS. This week, I wrote the exclusive, which means today I'm the one in the chair being asked the questions. I'm joined by our Managing Director, Sylvan. Sylvan, are you ready to kick things off?
Yes, let's jump right in. I would like to open with the sequencing because the sequence is what makes the numbers land differently. Gallup has 17 years of data. 2 consecutive years of declining global engagement have never appeared in those 17 years. As you already pointed out, not during the financial crisis and not during COVID. Maya, can you tell us more about what broke the streak?
Well, to be frank, the erosion built slowly, then accelerated in the years when it could least afford to. The 2025 report captured the first year of the fall. Engagement had dropped from a 2022 peak of 23% to 21%. The 2026 report extended that to 20% in 2025. And when you look at where the decline is concentrated, it is not evenly distributed across the workforce. Manager engagement has fallen from 31% to 22% since 2022, 9 points in 3 years, and faster than the overall employee population. Individual contributor engagement, by comparison, held comparatively flat across the same period. The management layer is carrying a disproportionate share of this.
Now, that asymmetry is what shapes the diagnosis. A broad decline across the entire workforce might point to economic uncertainty or post-pandemic fatigue. The fact that it is concentrated in the management layer points somewhere more specific, somewhere organizational. What do you think is driving it?
The data has pointed to the answer for years, and organizations have largely chosen to look elsewhere. Manager disengagement at this scale is the direct output of deliberate organizational choices. How much training and development investment has gone into management capability, how much genuine decision-making authority managers actually hold, and how consistently the people who lead frontline teams have been treated as a strategic priority. The reinforcing mechanism is measurable. Countries with less engaged managers consistently produce less engaged individual contributors. Each disengaged manager pulls a team's worth of engagement down with them. The accumulated cost of that mechanism, measured as the potential output gap against a fully engaged workforce, sits at $10 trillion globally.
Wow, $10 trillion is hard to miss. And then you put that next to the AI figure, approximately $40 billion in enterprise AI investment, with 95% of organizations reporting no measurable impact on profits, according to MIT Project Nanda's data. Maya, those two failures are sitting in the same organizations at the same time. What connects them?
The connection is the manager. It is the same variable in both failures. Gallup's first quarter 2026 data shows that employees who strongly agree their manager actively supports their team's AI use are 98.7 times as likely to report that AI has transformed how work gets done. In both cases, the technology is present. What shifts the outcome is the manager's posture toward it. And if fewer than a third of employees in AI implementing organizations strongly agree their manager actively supports the technology, you have an enormous investment parked behind a management layer that is neither equipped nor engaged enough to deploy it. The $40 billion and the $10 trillion are the same problem, measured differently.
I gotta be honest, Maya, that figure stopped me. A 98.7 times difference is an order of magnitude. For retail specifically, where significant investment is going into store technology, associate-facing AI tools, personalization, infrastructure. That figure says almost all of it is contingent on the manager between the technology and the team Another point you made in your exclusive was on European engagement and how it fell to 12% in 2025. Now, that is the lowest of any region globally. For some of our IADS members, that is the workforce context in which they are trying to run these transformations. How do you read that number for retail?
12% means that in a typical European organization, roughly 1 in 8 employees is genuinely engaged, committed, contributing at full capacity, building customer relationships. The remaining 7 employees are present, but withholding. For department stores where competitive differentiation lives in the quality of the human interaction, the service expertise, the floor-level judgment call, that ratio carries direct commercial consequences. And Sylvan, 30% of the European workforce intended to leave their employer within the next 12 months, as of the 2025 data. That succession and retention problem is sitting directly underneath the engagement number.
And just to note, that attrition pressure sits on top of a management layer already losing 9 engagement points in 3 years. Let's get to the gap. The 57-point difference between 22% and 79% manager engagement is not a rounding error. What do the organizations at 79% actually do differently?
The distinguishing factor is investment, long-term, sustained, science-based investment in management capability. The 79% organizations aren't running one-off training programs. They've built embedded development cultures where managers receive frameworks, coaching, and genuine decision-making authority consistently over time. The data on outcomes is specific: engagement gains of up to 22% among participating managers, up to 18% in their teams, and manager performance improvements of 20 to 28%, all within 9 to 18 months, with effects confirmed as durable. Training alone raises manager thriving from 28% to 34%. Adding active organizational development support takes it to 50%. The gap between 22% and 79% has a documented pathway. What separates the organizations at either end of it is a series of investment decisions, made or deferred.
Retail has deferred these decisions longer than most sectors. The IADS white paper on middle managers goes into the structural reasons, the centralization story, the promotion culture that rewards individual performance and then expects the same person to lead a team with no development in between. Does the Gallup data support that diagnosis?
The McKinsey data cited in the white paper makes this concrete. Having an inspiring leader was the 7th most cited reason employees left their jobs in 2022. By 2023, it had risen to 3rd, the fastest 2-year movement in that dataset. That trajectory runs parallel to the period during which manager engagement fell fastest across the Gallup reports. The managers who struggle to inspire are rarely struggling because they lack the capacity. Most of them were promoted into roles whose leadership demands were never part of the job description they were evaluated against, and they were given no structured development after the fact. The pandemic stripped away every compensating mechanism. When you need managers to lead through conditions no playbook covered, you find out very quickly whether that development happened.
The promotion pathway is the structural trap. Individual performance rewarded, leadership capacity assumed. Maya, what does a retail executive actually do with this research?
The Carrefour France case in the IADS white paper is a useful retail application of this, and it required no new technology platform and no significant restructuring budget. What Rami Beatty did was restructure the decision-making logic: customers at the top, the CEO at the bottom, middle managers at the center of a real-time customer feedback loop, cashiers recording comments daily, sorted and synthesized by management teams, reported directly to HQ. Within 6 months, Carrefour France reached its highest Net Promoter Score on record. What produced that result was managers given purpose, equipped with the right tools, and trusted with meaningful commercial responsibility. The investment did not go into the platform. It went into the people running the floor. For any retailer looking at their AI roadmap right now, the question worth adding is, are we investing sufficiently in the managers we expect to deploy it?
I believe the Carrefour case is the right place to close on. What Rami Bhatia demonstrated is that the 57-point gap is earned rather than inherited. It's the accumulated result of decisions made or deferred, consistently over time. Maya, what does a retail executive do with that on Monday morning?
Well, the first recognition is probably that the AI investment conversation and the management development conversation are the same conversation. They're looking at each other across the same gap, and the organizations treating them as separate agendas are the ones sitting at 22% and wondering why their technology isn't performing. The path to 79% has a documented set of steps. The question is whether leadership is prepared to treat those steps as a capital allocation decision rather than an HR initiative. The Gallup data ends on a detail that the headline numbers tend to crowd out. Half of employees who are engaged at work are thriving in life overall. A third of those who are not engaged are not. The manager is the hinge on which both sides turn, which makes this, depending on how you look at it, either the most commercial or the most human argument in this week's research.
The full exclusive, with the complete Gallup data, the white paper research, and the Carrefour case in detail, is available on Substack at IADS Exclusive Insights. You can also find the link in the episode description. Don't forget to follow us on LinkedIn at the International Association of Department Stores to stay in the loop, and visit our website for more information. Until next time.
This podcast uses AI cloned voices created with human oversight to ensure quality and accuracy.